Am I live? Am I streaming? I don't think we have. Oh, I didn't even check internet connection. Hopefully, it's good. I don't think that I have. Uh, do I have access to commercial free music? Epidemic sound. See if I can. Or actually, hmm. See here. I sign. Probably not. Yeah, royalty free. Zach. Maybe YouTube has their own library. Maybe YouTube royalty free. So maybe YouTube doesn't have their library anymore. The YouTube audio library. Now, this here is audio library. I don't know. See, welcome to YouTube Audio Library, your go-to place for free background music therapy for YouTube videos, vlogs, shorts, reels, podcasts, live creative products, explore, growing playlists, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what do we got for playlists? Do I trust it? Do I trust it being royalty free? I don't know if I do. I need some sort of sound in my ear, and I just don't know what I should listen to. This is the problem with YouTube. On Twitch, I could just I'll just go stream whatever I want. Epidemic Sound has a royalty-free set feature playlist and themes. What do you guys got for? That's fine. Your subscription is expired. But what do you got for royalty free? That is the question. Well, you guys made it sound like you had something. Wrote no legal fuss, no hidden fees. Choose from 50,000 plus tracks and 200 plus sound effects. In our audio library, 170,000 creators. 30 days free, royalty free, forever. Did I get 30 days free? I'm here for the 30-day free promo. Well, maybe I don't get royalty free. This is royalty free. Royalty free music. No copyright music. Well, let's take their word for it, I guess. What do you guys got for playlists? Vivo. Who would have thought that I would start off the stream trying to figure out what the hell to listen to? Audio library. Try this. I think this is actually. Eh, Eh. Now I find myself in a weird way. In a very weird way. I just ain't got music. And, I mean, it's kind of lame. Audio library. Take it slow. Let's just. Oh, you know what? I think we're gonna have to bear with me for a second. Okay, good. I seen collection. Let me take this. Let's duplicate this. Let's call this here. Okay, I've duplicated this, and instead of remove this, remove this. Don't worry, I'll get you guys audio here in just a second. And let's remove this. Display capture, mic capture. Let's add just a audio output capture. Okay. Maybe bring this down to maybe somewhere here, perhaps, or perhaps negative 35 might be better. Okay, let's see here. I do kind of want to create something like some sort of like navigation. I haven't quite figured out how I want to do this. I do have good characters. I'll probably probably reorder all of this eventually, but for now, let's just create a new folder that says navigation. Create a new. Excuse me. In this particular case, it is going to be a script. And this script is going to inherit from Node 3D. I believe. And we will probably call this here. Area navigation. And area navigation. Yeah, we'll just keep it at area navigation. Hit create. Now I could change this. Create a new scene. This is going to be area navigation, except we don't have that at the moment. We want to come over here. We want to hit save. Come over here, navigation, area navigation. This can actually go away, and let's just say class name Area navigation. Area navigation. Save. And then we want to come over here, create a new scene. Man, this music is actually loud in my ears. I'm going to be entirely honest with you. Let's go ahead and bring it down a little bit. Just maybe bring this here, or maybe keep it where it is at 35, I suppose. That's probably fine, but it was really loud in my ear. In this particular case, this scene is going to be based on the area navigation. And we can call this here well, just out of curiosity, if I type in navigation, they have a navigation region. I have an area navigation. That's cool and all, but it's not exactly what I want. It is 3D, but I need navigation for kind of like flying creatures. So, I mean, I could use navigation region 3D for non-flying creatures, but I think I'm just going to create a single area navigation that both 3D and, well, flying and ground creatures can use. So, in this case, I mean, what do I call this? The scene name, I think I could keep the scene name as the area navigation. What's interesting is they don't use a scene name. I guess we technically don't need a scene name, because the area navigation is a node, and we're not actually going to be adding anything into a scene specifically for it, so we don't actually need a scene for the area navigation. But what we are going to need is a... what is it? On ready? On ready. We're going to say there. And in this particular case, we want, is it, we'll call this here the, it's not going to be a collision shape. I guess it would be a collision shape, wouldn't it? But it's not really. Say if I wanted to add child node, I would say, what, do I have like an area 3D? I do. There's also the navigation area, which I don't necessarily want to use. That is actually based on the collision object, which is interesting. Oh, really? Lame. I should have base class for 3D physics objects. Oh, collision object can hold. Well, is the collision shape 3D. I'm talking like right into the mic, so I'm sure I'm peeking like an asshole. Well, where'd the... I mean, area is based on collision object. 3D. So why if when I say collision, I guess collision object doesn't show. If I type in like collision object, yeah, it doesn't show up at all. Area. So I don't know. We have collision object. Well, we have a collision shape. I do kind of want to see what the interworkings of this are. The node has no shape, so it's an area 3D. I just want to go to the documentation. See, it's a region 3D space defined by one or multiple collision 3D. Okay, one or multiple collision 3D shapes or collision polygon 3D child nodes that detect where collision objects enter or exit it, and it also keeps track of which collision objects haven't exited it. Yeah, i.e., which one are overlapping. This node can also locally alter or override physics parameters, gravity, damping, audio custom audio buses. This node can also locally alter or override physics parameters. Okay, wow. So that's a little bit much for me. I know I'm adding this to my rat. It's not necessarily what I want to do. I'm just kind of seeing what we have to work with. See here, navigation. We have area navigation is mined. Their navigation is node 3D. They do have a navigation region, which I do want to take a closer look at. Traversable 3D region based on a navigation mesh that okay, blah blah blah. Big finish navigation mesh. Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to see kind of how they did there. So they are basically just using a well, it doesn't actually say what this. Well, if I say a navigation region, what's its base class? Type navigation region. Sorry, I want to go to documentation again. It just inherits node 3D. Okay, that's all I needed to know. It's gonna say a navigation mesh resource must be set or created for this node to work. Okay. So, we're not going to use a navigation mesh, but we are going to have another part of this. But it actually might just be created as part of this. I'm second. Well, no, I'm not second guessing. It just needs to be. I mean, we could create a scene for this, or we can manually do it. So we'll just say on ready var. In this particular case, we are going to add a child node of I actually don't know. because we need a navigation area. This has a navigation mesh. So I guess this here just applies to the scene. I actually have no idea. A child node. Let's just say an area. Probably an area 3D. See here that detects other collision objects entering or exiting it. Okay, so yeah, we'll do an area 3D. This is going to be an at tool. I'm gonna do this correctly, but we're gonna say navigation area. Navigation area. Area 3D. Ouch. And equals. Now I'm trying to figure out how to do this on ready. Equals $. And we're going to say that it needs to be player detector area. See, what is this? On player detector area. This is under door transition. Okay. And that is because our a door manager. I don't know where the door is kept. Door transition. We have a door transition scene that has a player detector area 3D. Yeah, okay, here it is. So player detector area 3D. Just here is an area 3D that has a collision shape. Okay. And so that's going to be a child of the door transition. So in this particular case, this here is going to be our navigation area, which is an area 3D. We'll just call this here the navigation area. And then we're going to have an export. Man, it's been a while since I've worked on with Godot. At export there. See, this one's quite interesting because I want to define a cell size. So we'll cell size int by default will equal 1. And this won't be an int, it will actually be a float. 1.f, is that allowed? And we're not going to call it cell size, we're going to call it the desired cell size because we're going to allow the cells to fit to the area. Um, and navigation. We are probably going to have a there. Navigation data. Which is going to be a... Now, I don't know how best to store this data. We're actually probably going to store... Well, this here is going to be cooked data. So the question is how do you do refs in Godot? Probably can't, can you? I'm just trying to think of how to save space. So we'd probably need to create an actual ref counted object. So in this particular case, that would actually be under our navigation. We'll call this here a new. In this particular case, it's going to be a script. It's not going to be inherit from node. This is going to inherit from probably a ref counted object. See, a base for reference count objects, base class for any object that keeps a reference count. Resource and many other helper objects inherit this class. Because I don't think I would specifically want a resource. Use So I think in this particular case, I'm just going to have it be a ref counted. And we're going to call this here a... We'll just call it a nav cell. create, save. We'll come over here, open up the nav cell here. It extends ref counted. This is also going to be in that tool because this is something that's going to be baked. And then we are going to say extends ref counted. So what should we say in this particular case? We should say class name the nav cell. We're just going to give it a short, simple name. And how do I do a... I don't know if I want to do a dictionary. An array. A dictionary would actually be best because we can discard non-navigational areas. One thing our nav cell is going to have. Let's see here. I don't know if we should have kind of a flags where we could say is air, is ground, so on and so forth, or if it should be a single flag enumeration that determines whether it is ground or is air or if there's anything else. I mean, well, here's a thought, because what if we have some underground enemies? It would be good to know. Well, that one would be a little bit more difficult. So now I'm just wondering if I should say is air. Well, here's the question. Would you ever have a scenario where it isn't air? Water. There's your scenario. So I should probably do, and I don't think these need to be exports because these are cooked, although having it as an export would probably help visualize the data. So we're going to say at export there is air. Bool defaults to false. I know it already defaults to false. Control copy paste. Control paste. See. Oh, well, we actually have quite a bit of information that we're going to need to know. So we're going to have is air. Let's start with is ground. Is air. Well, shit. I don't actually want to do what I'm doing. And here's the reason why I don't want to do what I'm doing. Because if I do what I'm doing, then that means we're looking at having a single cell grid. Well, not necessarily. I do want to do what I'm doing, but okay, I got this figured out. But we still want to separate all of these into their own containers. So for instance, I think what I want to do is I do want to generate all of my cells, and then I'll have my cells say whether it's ground, air, below water, above water. I don't know what you call above water, buoyant, something, I don't know. And then we would separate those. Okay, yeah, because some of these could be the same. And then we would just break these out into their separate containers. So we'd have a container for ground cells, air cells. Okay, yeah, that's what we're going to do. At export there is water. We'll say is water bool equals false. Here, I'm gonna just blast a few of these here. So we have is water is above water is below water. I don't know if I should say, like, have some flags directly for the water surface. Maybe not initially. Because we could say is above water. Would we want this to apply to every single cell that is above the water, though? Is there any sense in I can't think of there being any sense in doing that right now, but what if I wanted to do it in the future? So because of that, I'm just going to say is above water surface, maybe? Then is below water surface. Kind of indicating it's just below. Is water is obviously going to be entirely below the surface. And then that's just going to be inside of water. Is below water. I don't even know if we're going to have water, by the way. So we have ground, air, water. Is there anything else that I want? I can't think of anything off the top of my head, so I'll go ahead and close that. Be here. Array. How best would I create a multi-dimensional array? Is there a dictionary? And would I even want to use a dictionary in this particular case? Wondering if using like a or both multi-dimensional arrays and dictionaries natively. The best approach depends on whether your data is dense or index-based or sparse, key-based. It is definitely key-based, and that's going to just be the index of the cell, which is actually probably going to spend a lot of cycles on navigation. I should probably break out C#, but we'll go with this for now. So it looks like we have a basic 2D array that we create a 3D. We have dynamically creating 2D arrays, which would actually not be a great way to go unless you initially create it. Ooh, yeah, that would be quite spendy. We technically do have fixed dimensions. See here, these are contiguous, performance matters, and you want cache run and traverse grids, maps, boards. Really? You have title maps, dungeon layouts, bookings, dictionaries in Godot. Yes, it exists. Godot has a first class dictionary type. Basic dictionary. Var data equals health 100. Print data. Say what now? Data you can do var grid equals function set cell xy 2i. Okay, so you can do a grid based off of a vector 3i, I would assume. Okay. I'm wondering if I should do a dictionary. I do only care about, not necessarily occupied positions, but am I using the dictionary anywhere currently? I am not. So navigation data. So this here is just going to be the navigation data. This here is going to be the raw. Call this here the navigation data raw. Just stick with raw. Dictionary. And then what's okay, see. And this dictionary is going to be a vector 3i and a nav cell. And we will initialize the dictionary. Okay, so now we have our dictionary. And then let's bring our nav cell down here. This here is our very navigation raw data. See here, we will call this there. Navigation ground. And then what? 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 so far. Oops. Five. So we have navigation ground, navigation air, navigation water, navigation of water surface, and then navigation below water surface. These are our data dictionaries. I don't know if I want to export these or not. It would be nice to visualize, perhaps, but maybe not. Wondering if I should. Well, I don't think the cell necessarily needs to know its cell size. I don't think that necessarily matters because the area navigation is going to know the cell size. So we have the export var desired cell size, and then we're going to have a var actual cell size, which I should probably just call cell size. This is going to default to 1, which is kind of weird. If a func, how do you do this? Is it an override? No. Oh, so it's just okay. I see. Func ready. Let's do a. It's actually going to be a func bake. Sorry, this is my C# coming out. Shit. Did I not do this right? Why are we complaining? Oh, what is it? Pass? Okay, so func bake, and as part of it being a tool, let's say, what was it? On. It's like a button that you could. There's a way you could add a button to your. Oh, we're not receiving enough data. Oh, everything's fine. At export. Tool button. Do I use this anywhere? No, I know that I use it in another project. Do I have a... Let's save this, and the reason that I'm saving this is because if I go into... Can we just close all of this? Save the rat scene. Brand navigation. There we go. Export tool button. So we're going to export tool button. We are going to call this bake navigation. And this is going to be there. Randomize color. There. bake action equals, and I'm actually going to call this bake underscore navigation. Which this is going to complain. Field's return type can be specified as callable. Func. I could get rid of this. Specify callable. Oh, okay. I see. Yep, that's fine with me. Okay. Go. I had a pretty good idea that's why that was complaining. Here's our export tool button. So now we have our bake navigation built into here. Yeah, so the first thing I want to do is determine the actual cell size. So in order to do that, I'm going to say, well, how would I do that? I know exactly how I would do that. We would say var desired This is actually an interesting one because I would like cells to be more or less a cube. So how best would one do this? I don't want the cells to extend outside of the navigation area either. So I would want to I wouldn't be able to lock the navigation area. I wouldn't be able to yeah. I'm thinking really hard here. How would I want to do this? Maybe I just go with what I don't want to do, knowing that I just need to set my sizes appropriately. Or well, I need to actually think here because navigation is going to apply to more than one entity type, and cell size is probably gonna matter. So, for instance, larger, and I'm saying entities. We can call them agents, entities, whatever you want. I should actually probably create multiple navigation areas with different cell sizes for different size entities, different size agents. Or at least I should make that a possibility. For instance, it doesn't make sense to have a rat may need a small navigation area. Well, actually, I could connect different navigation areas together. Okay, I'm brainstorming ideas in my mind as I think this through. Let me pull up Paint to kind of visualize what I'm thinking here. Man, that's bright. So let's imagine that we have. Let's imagine that we have a. Sorry, this is going to be a terrible visualization. Can we build this? So imagine we have a door here, and imagine we have maybe like a door, maybe not even a door. Maybe in this case, it's just a small opening, right? So we have. I'm trying to think of best how to do that. I actually have a fantastic idea. We'll get to that in just a moment. I'm trying to think of a best implementation. But imagine we have. We'll just do a quick little grid here. Actually, let's do our grid in maybe like, I don't know, red or something. Let's say. Let's just go all the way across. We'll just say that this here is our navigation grid. It's this very rough. Actually, here, I'm doing these two. Let's say this here is our navigation grid. Obviously, if we say that these cells, we'll say that they intersect with a wall. These are our ground cells. This is going to be a worst visualization in the world. I ain't no game developer or graphic artist, so this is kind of just more of a passion project here. So say what we do is we say cells that are touching the ground, cells that are touching a wall are cells that we cannot go to. So we select our, it's just a pen here. So these cells, this is a bad way of doing this. This is kind of just an oversimplified, but these cells are crossed out. None of these cells are navigatable because they are. Okay, that's not what I meant to do. Because they intersect with this. Damn it. Because they intersect with this wall here. So none of these cells are navigable. So a large entity that is the size of this cell says, oh, obviously I cannot make it through this wall because, well, it can't fit through this cell here. But what we can do, say we want anything that's able to fit through this section here to be able to go through this section. Well, how do we do this? Now, we could either create multiple navigation layers of different cell sizes to handle different size entities, or actually what we can do is we could go ahead and place in a area to detect that says we want anything that's able to go through this area here to be able to go through this area here. So what we will do is we'll say any cell that is intersecting with this area here, we will subdivide that cell. And I don't know if we should subdivide the cell, and probably not the size of the area, but we can say this area that we place here, we could say maybe subdivide the cells intersecting with this area into into 8 sections or something like that. So that would be, I don't know what that would be. I'm just kind of spitballing here. So we'll just say, something like here's 2, 4, 8, something like that. And so what that allows us to do is just subdivide this here into different cells so that any entity that comes along here that is looking to traverse through these cells now does a much fine granular. And you know what? It's actually probably just going to look at this cross section here and say, "Oh, can I fit through here?" I don't actually know yet. This is more or less an idea that I'm kind of spitballing in my brain. So maybe it just overrides this and says, "Hey, if you're in this cell, look here. You would probably go here." But this cell's already been crossed out because it intersects with this wall. So I'm not entirely sure how best to. I mean, we would subdivide these cells, so that would mean that only these cells come out. These cells are not navigable. Let me do this in a proper color here. These cells are not navigable. These cells are not navigable. And so anything trying to come through here, it'll have to look at, make sure it's able to fit through here and then navigate its way through. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about this. Whether that's a great idea or not, I don't know, but that's kind of what I'm going to try and implement. And I'm probably not going to make it very far to that. It's already one already, but that's kind of the idea that I have. So in order to do that, we'll have to say maybe like an override area. So we have our area navigation, we have our navigation cell, and now we're going to create new. And I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work out. Well, I think we just have to probably traverse the tree to find all of them. And it's actually going to be a sub-object of this node. So just navigate the subnode for this particular item. So this is going to be a new script. This is also going to be I gotta pee. This is going to be an area 3D. And this here is going to be we'll call this here a nav cell override area. We'll just go with nav cell override area. And I need to actually fix this here. This here's area navigation. Damn it. Okay. Area navigation. Let's kind of do a little bit of commenting here. How do you do? Can you do multi-line comments in Godot? Yes, it does support multi-line. A block comment syntax. Okay. You. Currently, this here is a block comment. So if I come over here and look at navigation, okay. So let's see here. Area navigation is a 3D grid is a cell-based 3D grid navigation system. Nav cells define type of cell is at the particular location. After initial nav cell traversal, nav cells are added to their associated navigation bags to aid in quick cell reversal for that type. Nav cell override. Are we out of music here? Shuffle. Hey. Play. Your nav cell override allows for nav cells there's two different kinds of intersects allows for override nav cells override allows for nav cells intersecting this area to be subdivided into smaller cells for navigation in smaller spaces that the cell grid size. Okay, that's kind of the general idea of the navigation system that we're working with here. Okay, so what I actually want to do, so we have a bake navigation. I'm probably going to do a bunk. How would you do in Godot? Because this here could be, well, this here is a bake process, so it doesn't necessarily need to be too fast. If it were runtime, maybe. We probably do want to allow for how would you allow for moving platforms and stuff like that? That's a different problem for a different day. In this particular case, I would do a. This is bake navigation. We are going to bake raw. Pass. So the very first thing we're going to do here is bake raw. And then after we bake raw, we will say bunk I don't exactly know how to name this. Maybe like optimize bags. Probably not the best naming convention. Because we're not really optimizing the bags. We are actually initializing the bag. So we'll call this here in it. And we're just calling them bags. I don't know what better to call this. So just go with init bags and pass. And don't forget your colon. Init bags. What am I missing here? Okay, and now we are no longer passing. That is essentially the two different functions that we need. And then init bags is easy. I say it's easy. I don't work with GD script very often, so trying to do this from the top of my head is going to be fun, I imagine. Say navigation data dot what is a for each? Is it 4? Oh, that's 4 in range. 4 nav cell is it in? ChatGPT to the rescue. How do I for each four? I bet you if I go to documentation help. Dictionary. Control find 4. I would really like to find 4 inside of the dictionary. 4 fruit and groceries, var amount equals groceries fruit. That's just going to give me the key. I don't actually need to say keys. The keys of a dictionary can be iterated with the 4. So this just says grocery, so it must automatically do keys. So I would say 4 cell IDX in navigation data raw var nav cell equals navigation data raw cell IDX. What are we complaining about here? These variable local nav cell. Oh, okay. And then this, I believe, is a vector 3i, just for type safety. I'm a fan of type safety. Okay. So now we have our cell. So now we would say if nav cell dot is ground, then we are going to say nav cell ground dot. Would this be a sign? Add insert or do I just do cell IDX equals nav cell? I think that's what I do. There is a particular issue that I just kind of want a little bit of help with. Fine. Settings, plugins. What is? Oh, GDScript 2 language plugin. GitHub Copilot does not seem to be. Do I have updates? GitHub Copilot does not seem to be on my side today. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, okay. 2, Y. Well, yeah, no shit. That's going to be a problem. Why? Can I do like a control shift copy? No. Okay, copy. Control shift paste. You son of a bitch. Fine, let's just hate life for a second. Okay, that was annoying. So, is ground, is air, is water, is above water, is above surface. Then ground. Navigation air, navigation water. Okay, control save. Oh, and then there is one major thing that we need to do as well. We need to say func clear data. Is it, what is it? Reset. Damn it. Clear. So I wonder if I should use clear or if I should just reset the dictionary. For now, I'm going to just say clear on all of them. God damn it. Okay, so we are clearing the data. So let's see. Clear data. Okay, we clear the data, we bake the data, and then we init the data. So now we just need to do the data baking, which is going to be fun. I gotta pee. Give me a quick minute here. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I kind of wish I had something to snack on, but I left all my snacks down in the house. And right now, baby mama are sleeping. Okay, I believe we're actually in a safe state to hit this play button. Sometimes I like to just hop into here and see what I've worked on so far, get a little bit of motivation to make a little bit more progress. Right now, the only things that happen is I run into some doors, room loads, and the room that I exit unloads. So for instance, I could come over to here, hop back in here. Oh, can't go back in here because the door closes. Oh, interesting. Oops, I broke it. So it looks like there may be a little bit of work that needs to be done because, for instance, this room here should not be here right now. So how do I get it to... unload, you may ask? I'm not entirely sure, but I think if I do this, and then this, and then this... Nope, that didn't do it. Now I have two rooms. Sorry, now I'm just fooling around, seeing if there's a way that I could fix this through logic. And I don't know if there is. I mean, I can... see here. Oh wait, how many are here now? There's 3. Okay, well, logic doesn't solve every problem, apparently. Now I've really messed this up. Obviously, there's work that needs to be done. So, what if I... So say I wanted to get rid of... I can... What is this door part of? I think I could hit that, jump over here. What the hell? Oh, I did get rid of one. Okay. Now say I want to get rid of... Well, that's interesting. Not really. I think I can hit this one and then go right here. Oh, interesting. My logic must say that one has to exist. So if I accidentally spawn another room, I think I end up with a scenario where I'm stuck with that other room. That's something to fix later. Because I don't even know if I'm going to go with this particular design or if I'm going to handcraft a dungeon or handcraft rooms or what. Okay, so on the bake raw, let's go ahead and do the bake raw. Now we know this is actually going to be a pretty big function, so I'm actually going to pull these out of order here. We're going to drop our bake raw right here. And let's see here. On bake raw, the very first thing that I want to do, well, here's a question. Do I care about actual cell size? I do. I do care about actual cell size, but I know I was talking earlier about subdividing a navigation region, but maybe I just have it be a lower navigation region where the cells that intersect with the lower navigation region I don't know yet. I'm just trying to decide. I think I do want to keep actual cell size though. Actual cell size, we are going to lock it to a square cell size. That's fine. And I think that I'm actually going to kill this, and I'm going to kill the desired cell size, and we're just going to use cell size. It's going to be based off of the origin of the area. Now, one thing that I want to know, because we're using an area 3D, one thing that I want to know about an area 3D, and I'm going to open up a scene to find out. So maybe like my sandbox scene here. This here is a navigation sandbox scene. Okay, so this here is our navigation sandbox scene. So that's what we're using this for. Let's go ahead and go to one viewport, please. On the perspective, thank you. So in the perspective, let's go ahead and drop in, add a child node, add in an area 3D, hit create, and the area 3D node configure. This node has no shape, so it can't collide or interact with anything. Okay, well, where do I give it a shape? Collision? Oh, the area 3D requires a shape. Oh, interesting. So then I might actually want to create a scene for this, maybe? We give this a collision shape, create, and then the collision shape we would give a box shape 3D. And then the box shape 3D will say it's what? We'll just say it's a what? 100 by 100 by. Well, for the sake of visualization, say it's 10 by 10 by 10. So it is centered. So that is actually, well, that is good per se. But what that means, oh man, what does that mean? It's fine. It means that 0, index is actually going to be this cell here, and -1 is going to be this cell here. It's fine. I just have to keep that in mind, I guess. And maybe I'll force those to be in the magnitude, orders of magnitude. So 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. Point 1, 0.01. I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I'm kind of just rolling with it, I guess. Okay, so we have our navigation area. So the very first thing that we want to do is we need to make sure that we have our navigation area. So if navigation area, if not navigation area, return, but also do a print error. I don't know nothing about print error, so print error prints one or more arguments to strings in the best way possible to standard error line. Maybe this isn't what I want. Pushes an error message to the Go's built-in debugger and to the OS terminal. So maybe I want push error? Push error. No navigation area detected. What was that? Oh, lost my keyboard. My keyboard always connects and disconnects. It's the most annoying thing. Now, and then obviously, our navigation area also needs its collision shape, which I might restrict to being a box just because it's easiest to work with. The only other option, I mean, I can create a scene that I could manipulate, but maybe I won't do that. So I think I'll do... just call this here the var nav shape. Sorry, that's not what I want to do. Var nav shape. equals navigation area dot shape. Is it maybe area shape? Area. Not helpful. Area 3D. Excuse me. Get overlapping areas, get overlapping bodies. Yeah, this is all stuff that I need. But what I especially need is the area. Get the body shape. Oh, this here. Oh, it's not going to have. So body shape entered. So you have the body RID, and then you have the body. Oh, this is going to be an asshole. So I actually need to get the child node. Okay. Bear shape. Shit. Collision shape 3D equals done. Done. Extends node 3D. Why can't you equal done? Equals done. Okay, what does you have to say? None, not declared in the current scope. Maybe none is not valid for this? I don't know. Var nav shape, collision shape 3D, and then I need to say navigation area dot child pattern string recursive remove child get children. See here. I have a shape 3D. To ref I the collision. Well, actually, actually, let's just simplify this. We're probably going to end up just saying that this here needs to be a scene. So let's just say this here is the navigation area. We'll still call this the navigation area collision shape. And if I'm not mistaken, I just need to do a / for the navigation area. I just need to say collision shape (3D). And Bob's your uncle. Which this is okay. So we obviously need to see if there's not a navigation area. We need to do some baking on the navigation area, but we're not, or not baking, some checks on the navigation area. This can go away, and then we could say if not navigation area collision shape, push air, no, navigation area collision shape detected, return, and then we could say if not navigation area dot collision shape is collision shape dot shape you are not 3D collision shape 3D. I want listen. Debug color, full, make a resource change property. The collision shape color, bool debug fill, disabled shape 3D. Dot shape turn. So this is a particular problem because it says shape. So, well, actually, this is the problem here. This needs to be a collision shape 3D. There we go. Dot shape. So first we need to ensure that we have a shape. And so we need to say push error. Where's my GitHub Copilot? Collision shape detected. And now if navigation area dot shape is not box shape 3D return. Now I hope that this does the comparison that I actually want it to do. So push air, no navigation area, collision shape detected. In this case, I might as well continue the theme. The navigation area collision shape is not a area 3D, and then we could say there. Do we actually care what the shape is? We do. We want to pull the shape as a box shape 3D. So we are going to say there box shape box shape 3D equals okay, now we've got our box shape. Now we're cooking with gasoline. Okay, now that we have our box shape, we want to then get the absolute dimensions. We need to get how many cells fit inside. So in this particular case, this here is our cell size. So we need to get there cell count x int equals math dot, can I just say abs? Equals abs. And the abs is going to be the box shape dot size dot x. So this here is going to be the total size. I'm gonna do some weird damn math on this thing. I don't know if I should do weird math on this though, because I don't actually want to get the width and divide it. What I actually want to do is get the shape size, divide it by 2, and then take this value, you son of a bitch, get this value and divide this by our cell size. So our absolute is going to be this. It's going to cut off any extra, which is exactly what we want. This is going to be our size for the positive X region. So bear with me. This isn't cell count X. This is now, we're just is delta. I think delta. We'll just say delta x, and then paste. We want to do this 3 different times. We want delta y, which is y, and then we want delta z, which is z. So now that we have that, I can go ahead and do a for range. For how would I do a where's the for how I do for range? I could probably just look at the documentation and type in range. Here we go. So in this particular case, I will say for, and we're going to say delta x idx yeah, these here is delta. So delta x idx in range, and I hope that range is helpful here because I want to say negative delta x to delta x. So delta y range y y, and let's see here. I guess it doesn't really matter which way I go about this technically. I would go X, Y, Z in that order, which means that this is actually Z. Just like so. And then this is where things get a little bit tricky. Because this here is where we would do our collision detection. Is the scene automatically a tool? No. This is going to be interesting implementing the rest of this, I think. But collision detection per cell to bake cell data into the cell. Okay, I think that's where we are going to end it for the evening. We'll play some more with this definitely in the future, maybe even tomorrow. Maybe play some Arc Raiders tomorrow. I don't know. It's 2 a.m. I gotta wake up for work tomorrow. I gotta cut up some trees tomorrow. We had a really windy week, part of this what do they call it, atmospheric river. So had a bunch of wind where I am, knocked down a whole bunch of trees, so I got to deal with that tomorrow. But anyways, thanks everyone for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Hope to see you again soon. Catch you later. Peace.